Then we'll just pour this right back on top, let it recirculate. It's important not to just dump it in because it will, upset your grain bed. You just want to kind of splatter it around. Try to let it go kind of gentle. Here, you want to open that up for me again? This is going to be an extremely light beer, I think, light in color.
Straight down in.
Yep, straight down in, that's fine. Perfect.
What you all can't see back at home right now is the fact that the grains have colored the wort quite a bit. The smell is very strong. You can smell the barley, you can smell the corn. It's actually really good, very good smell.
You can see if I can scoop it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to. It's, very light, like a color of beer, like what you'd expect. Yeah, I also, whenever I say a light beer, I don't want you to get confused and think I'm talking about like Bud Light. This will be much higher alcohol than Bud Light. It will have, should have much more flavor than Bud Light, and I would expect it to be a beer that I would enjoy much more than drinking Bud Light or any Coors or Miller or any of those types of beers. It'll have more calories as well. Bud Light will make you skinny, so I stay away from it. We've heated our spars water up to 175 degrees. I heated up 4.5 gallons. So we're going to go ahead and add that to here, and you don't have to worry about splashing around. You want to splash it around. When I get a little more in there, Caleb, you can stir it up. And this is just cleaning the grains. Make sure you're getting all the sugar that's been converted. All the sugar that's been converted, you want out of the grains and into your brew pot, because the sugar will be converted into alcohol, which is important.
It also gives you all the flavors that you typically have in the beers.
Yep.
It gives you your sweetness. It gives you the sometimes the aftertaste. How many gallons did we do there?
4.5 gallons.
4.5.
3 the first time and 4.5 this time. Okay, now then we'll just put the lid back on that. Let that sit for about 10 minutes, just letting the grain bed settle. Remember, it's not going to convert much at this point, maybe a little bit, and then we'll just run it through again, and then we'll be filled up and we'll be ready for the boil. All right, so another good thing to do while you're brewing beer is maybe to read up on some of the ideas and methods and things. The best book that I've kind of looked at is John Palmer's book. It's called How to Brew. It's very good. Most of the stuff I do is based on some of the ideas from this. I think Caleb said he reads it as well.
Homebrew, or How to Brew by John Palmer, is excellent. It has a lot of very close step-by-step instructions. It doesn't go. It sometimes goes into a lot of detail, but it allows you to skip those details and just use the step-by-step without having to know, well, why do we use the yeast like we do, and why do we add what we do to it.
When you're just getting started, you're more worried about how things work instead of why things work. So this book does a really good job of kind of breaking that down. So it doesn't give you too much information, it just gives you what you want. The other book that I've looked at, I've had this book actually before I started brewing. I bought this long before I started brewing when I was about 19. It's called The Brewmaster's Bible. It's not quite as easy to follow, I don't think. It still has some good stuff, some good recipe ideas and stuff in here. If you want to grow your own hops or your own barley or herbs to brew with or something like that, this is pretty good, The Home Brewer's Garden. It has tells all about how to build a trellis like what I built and some other different ways to build it. Also, very important if you want to grow your own barley, it shows how to malt the barley. Gives some really easy ideas for how to do that and things like that. Okay, so this has been sitting about 10 minutes. We're going to have to recirculate it again like we did earlier. Again, just make sure you don't get all that stuff you don't really want. Just look how much clearer it is now, lighter it is.
Quite a bit.
It's still got some sugar in it though.
That's good.
Yep. It's going a lot faster than it did last time. Remember, it went real slow that first time. Crap. I'm messing up, man. What a waste. Now I'm just pouring the water over the spoon, just recirculating it. Try not to disturb the grain bed as much as I can. Just let it drain out, and then I've made this stick here. I pre-measured the 5, 6, 7 gallons. We should have hopefully between 6 and 6.5 gallons. Then after we boil it, it'll drop down to about 5 gallons, and it should be pretty good. Okay, now we have let our sparge water drain out. We got right about 6.5 gallons, which is what we wanted. So we're going to put that on. We're going to put it on the cooker, wait till it gets boiling, and then we're going to add the hops.
6 gallons. It's going to blow us both to Mars here.
Probably. The first time I burned myself.
No.
All right. So we got our wort boiling. I let it boil a little bit longer, just let some of the water boil off of it. But the recipe said add 1.5 ounces of cluster hops. These are pellet hops. Let those boil for 60 minutes. Then we'll add the other 1/2 ounce with about 10 minutes left. So I'll go ahead and pour in 1 whole ounce, and Caleb will pour in a half.
Here.
Ooh, I was going to use a hot bag. Oh well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, doesn't make any difference.
Another thing you want to notice, though, whenever you're boiling and you're adding your hops, sometimes you get boil over. Sometimes, not always. But
I think you don't get boil over, I think, as bad with the propane cooker as you do on your stove, but it is sticky to do on your stove, so make sure you clean it up right away. So we'll let that boil for an hour, and then in a little bit we'll add our other hops. All right, so now we're going to show you a couple beers that I've made. This one is a honey Kolsch. Kolsch is a style of beer that comes from Cologne, Germany. Technically, any type of beer that's called a Kolsch should be brewed in Cologne, but you can make at home the same style fitting with those. This is a honey Kolsch. I added honey to it, just kind of lighten the body up and give it a little bit more flavor. I brewed this for 4th of July when my family came. I filled up my 3-gallon keg, and here you go. I filled up my 3-gallon keg, and I thought, yeah, that'll kind of last for a while. And my family drank through it in about a half an hour, so it went over pretty well.
Nice in color.
As you can see, it's extremely light in color, but it has a good flavor to it, I think.